Yo, it's Easter, and that means it's draft week. Hopefully, you all have a great Easter. You have an enjoyable morning with your kids if you have kids, your family, etc., etc., etc. Thank you for tuning in, tapping in. If you're listening on Sunday, if you're listening on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it may be. Today's show, I lied. I said yesterday was going to be short. It ended up being exactly 10 minutes. Shout out to myself. Today is going to be much more short. Today is going to be three things, or maybe we'll do four things that will break the first round of the 2025 NFL draft. Three or four things that will just make the draft industrial complex go, oh my gosh, right? The easiest recall for this would be Michael Penix, right? Clelin Ferrell, right? That's the easiest recall for this thought process. Everybody knows Cam Ward's going 1, Hunter's going 2, Abdul's going 3. If not, Matty Kuhn will tell you that, Shador Sanders is going to go 3 to the Giants. Still wouldn't shock anybody. The Patriots going, D tackle or tackle wouldn't shock anybody. They went running back. They need it. It wouldn't shock anybody. Jags wouldn't shock anybody. Raiders being completely in the Ashton Jeanty conversation, would that shock somebody if they went edge rusher Jalen Walker? Maybe. Jacksonville, I guess I could have started with this one, just said, the people in Jacksonville will tell you they would lean towards Mason Graham, or it'll be Will Campbell if he's there, but it wouldn't shock them if Ashton Jeanty was the pick at 5. What would shock people is if number 7 overall, the New York Jets are there, and they take Ashton Jeanty, the running back from Boise State. I know it's been like this, yeah, like Breece Hall could be traded, and they could look at this backfield a different way, and they go Jeanty, and they have Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. I think the theory of them trading Breece Hall is maniacal to begin with, but I also don't think you should pay your running backs. The idea should be that they play Braylon and Isaiah Davis. But, if they look at Braylon Allen like a David Montgomery, and they look at Ashton Jeanty like a Gibbs, Aaron Glenn is in New York. He was just in Detroit. That would throw this draft in a tizzy if the Jets went and took Ashton Jeanty right there at number 7. What else could throw this draft into a little bit of a tizzy? I've talked about the consensus. We'll talk about the tendencies on Monday's show for this year's draft class. It's rather straightforward, though. I'm trying to think of like guys that would be reaches, right? Different situations. People it's like to reset your brain, right? We talk about the flat circle of the draft, and you go, well, what are those things? Well, those things are players that were once in that conversation and have fallen down for what reason? I don't know. You guys have heard me talk about Kelvin Banks on end, but we know New England needs a left tackle. If New England went Kelvin Banks at 4, or if New England went Josh Simmons, Mike Vrabel spent a lot of time on the Browns last year and the Ohio State Buckeyes, his former team. If he's happy with Josh Simmons pre-patellar tendon tear this past season would have been viewed as the top tackle in this class and probably goes in this spot number 4. So if you view him from that perspective at one point, and all he has is an injury between then and now, and you know him on a personal level better than any of these guys, we don't know if that's true or not with Vrabel, that could throw all of this into a tizzy if Josh Simmons went 4. I'm entertaining the Kelvin Banks thing at 4, but I would say an alternate selection at 4 being Josh Simmons or Kelvin Banks is my number 2 thing that could break the first round of the NFL draft. Another thing that could break the NFL draft would be a team that you don't see taking a quarterback. And you're going to say, well, you could just name a bunch of teams that don't really need quarterbacks taking a quarterback here. But when you think about it from the San Francisco perspective with Brock Purdy, right? People are cornerback, tackle for San Fran. Brock Purdy hasn't gotten a contract extension yet, at least up until this recording. I don't know if that happens like Lamar Jackson, right? It happens the day before the draft, day of the draft, whatever. I know they have Mac Jones behind him and stuff, but like, what if? What if Kyle Shanahan loved him some Jackson Dart? What if Miami took them some Jackson Dart? What if the Colts, who have Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, were like, you know what? You know what? Let's take a pocket passer. Let's see if the pocket passer looks different in this offense, because we know Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson are a little bit different. So the third take here is quarterback goes somewhere we don't see it, because everybody is so dialed in. This is what it scares me. And why I bring this up is because when everyone's so dialed into a certain thing, and it's like consensus, but it doesn't like it smells like the New Orleans quarterback thing smells a little bit. The Giants and the Cleveland quarterback situations, they've stunk for a while because of the Kirk Cousins stuff, because of Russell and Jameis Winston, all this different stuff, right? So if it stinks, I just start to weary and think different things. Like, look at San Fran 11, look at Miami at 13, the Colts at 14. It just stinks. And you also have Seattle at 18, where you have Schneider that is just a maniacal mover on draft day. Quarterback goes in a different spot. So we got Genty. We got Ashton Genty going to like the Jets at 7, somewhere that doesn't make a lot of sense. Number 2 is the 4th overall pick with Josh Simmons and Kelvin Banks vis-a-vis Will Campbell. We know there's some teams out there that view Will Campbell as only a guard. I don't think that's New England, but I know that Mike Vrabel only attended a couple of pro days this year, and Texas was one of them, and LSU was not. Ohio State was one of them. He also was at Ohio State all of last year with his team. So that smells. Quarterback, again, like I just said, Saints, Giants, Browns all smell. What if it's a potential San Fran, Miami, or Indianapolis? I know y'all hate that idea, but we didn't expect it last year with the Falcons, so we mocked religiously Dallas Turner. Number 4 overall. No running backs outside of Ashton Genty go in the first round. Could that happen? You look at need, teams with need-based things. You talk about teams with D tackle, edge, corner, things that are going to dry up rather quick in the top 100. You want to use a top 100 pick there when you look at the running back position that's loaded. I think we're going to see a career year for the running back position in round 3, 4, 5. The last 3 years in round 1, 1.3, round 2, 2.1, round 3, 3. That's running backs drafted by round 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, right? Just like that. What if we only get Genty? I think the Travion Henderson thing has helium, and I think it makes sense. But remember, we saw Jonathan Taylor fall to the second round. I think the Amari Hampton thing is deserved. We've heard there's a lot of teams that are split. That there's actually teams that have Amari Hampton equal to Genty in their rankings. I think Genty goes in round 1. But when we've looked at the teams, we're looking at Denver, Pittsburgh, and the Chargers as the main running back spots. Denver, I'll say it again. Denver, Pittsburgh, and the Chargers. And if I look at Denver, Pittsburgh, and the Chargers just from a team needs perspective, Denver could use a receiver. They could use a D lineman. Pittsburgh could take a quarterback if the quarterback's there. And the Chargers could use receiver or tight end if Colston Loveland falls. We know there's teams that have red flags on Colston Loveland. Edge. A lot of different things could happen. What if only one running back goes in round 1? So there's 4 crazy things that could happen. Keep your dauber down. Come back to this show if it happens and drop a comment for me. Drop a comment right now if you think any of this even has a chance of happening. Genty to the Jets. Simmons or Banks at 4 to the Patriots instead of Will Campbell. The line is kind of tied there. It wouldn't shock me completely. Quarterback doesn't go Saints or Browns or Giants in round 1. Rather, a team like San Fran, Miami, or Indy takes one in the top 15. And number 4, only Genty goes in round 1 amongst the running backs. I'm Cody Carpentier with the Draft Ranking Show. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. It's draft week, baby. Have a great Easter, and I'll see you tomorrow.